G'day everybody. G'day everybody. Welcome back to VCS English for another week. Now you might notice a few audio issues. If you do notice them, check my Twitter at EverydayCaster and everything will be explained. My name, of course, is Everyday. With me, as always, is Marbanogi and Rebel Fox. How are we tonight, Rebel? Or this morning, I should say.
Doing good, but if anyone deserves that question, it's you guys because of all the stuff you've been through. So how are you guys doing with this this very fantastic experience you've been through over the last day or so?
I'll let Marby start that one off.
It's been a lot of it's involved a lot of work on my end. I've been just organizing a lot of crap and moving a lot of crap. That's how moving works. It's not very interesting, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. I'm okay. The flight up was alright, so I need to go get furniture tomorrow, and that's going to be a real faff. But we're okay, we've got VCS! That's the end to any bad day, is to make it worse by watching the VCS. Joking, of course, make it better! And our first game off the rank is going to be BTS taking on the Saigon Buffalo. Now that sounds like a one-sided affair, but I have a Mr. Rebel Fox that wants to bring some light to why it might be a bit more interesting.
That's right. Let's talk about two of my absolute favorite players in the entire world, if you will, Mr. Spoods. There's a few things that I prepared for you too. So let's start with Drakthar, just because he's of course on BTS, the team that we're not quite expecting. In the previous split, we saw a lot of inconsistency. B, we saw his mechanics weren't always necessarily the greatest. His interaction with his team wasn't very high, and that's why he wasn't even on the starting roster for the most part for the previous split when he was on Percent and what is now BTS. And now that he stepped into the starting role, the expectation was that wasn't really going to change for the most part, which I think the growth that we've seen from him over the previous split's been pretty big. I have an example for you guys if you wanna take a look at this really quickly.
Alley-oop. Coming in,
Mr. Spoods, I do believe that you got a nice little video of it. Okay, that sounds even better.
Coming in, boop, and Drakthar here to pick it up.
The second one is the right one.
Okay, see, no question. We're gonna have to see if style can sort of match up.
That's when he is. That's look how impressive that was. Just how amazing that it was to be able to see that come through.
Wow, everything's happening.
Okay, all right. Both clips got played back to back right there. Effectively, that was Froggy learning how to CS, and you saw him pick up the CS at the very end of that clip, which is it's growth from what we saw in the previous split, where he was just getting all of it stolen by Levi through the third dimension. So right there, you saw a kill from Drakthar, and you saw a CS go over to the side of Froggy, and that's look how just how amazing our boys have gone from last split to this split, and just how well they're playing now. It's amazing.
It's just so much growth. I mean, look, putting Drakthar aside for now, I promise we'll come back. Don't get angry.
Oh yeah.
Froggy has been one of the most impressive growths over from one split to the next I think I've ever seen in any. Not just the VCS, just in anything. It's kind of ridiculous. He went from probably the worst player in the league, oh, maybe not the worst player in the league, but definitely the worst mid laner, and competing for the bottom of the league. And now there is a real debate as to him being the second best mid laner in the league. And I think he's almost certainly top 3. Whether you put him second or you put him third is sort of up for debate, but it's such a ridiculous tale of growth. Over on the side of Drakthar, well, he's better, I guess. Not quite the same level of growth, though.
He hasn't had quite the same level of growth, and despite that improvement, he's in a very unfortunate position where he's a jungler, and he's in the VCS, and there are so many good junglers, and they just keep appearing. We've had Killer Queen come in this split, and he's been an absolute riot. Luckily for Drakthar, someone's become a player. So he's not the worst jungler anymore. It's great. He's at least 7th.
We live in a timeline where
we have 9 junglers.
surpassed Thorn on our jungler tier list in the VCS.
I agree. Very upsetting.
Can't you put your bird away? Come on. Be a bit professional. Anyway, I mean, look, this is not a very fair matchup. BTS is obviously currently in 6th place, and SGB is in 3rd, and SGB is very much competing for 2nd. They're very, very competitive there. I personally think they actually are the second best team, though it's close with Cerberus. BTS are on the upswing though. Can we get our predictions up to see how we all actually think this one's going to go? Rebel, what did you pick and why?
It's unfortunately we're one split early away from the BTS and the Drakthar kind of redemption arc story. So what we're going for right now is the Froggy winning MSI storyline. That's what your expectation is, and so it should be a relatively swift win. Saigon not only has a much more definitive and refined style, but they're just playing better pretty much across the board. So that's, I think, indicative from everybody. I think our other primary caster that comes in Yolwei also has exactly the same scoreline. Unfortunately, I think most people do. BTS might take a game, but that's the best, and that I think is just generous for most people in their ability to do so.
Yeah. Now, BTS definitely have the potential to make things happen. They've had very good showings in previous matchups. They took the series against SBTC. Yeah, go away, we can't. But we also have the fact that SGB has flubbed series before. Their match against Cerberus, they looked pretty bad. Their last match against BTS, they ended up losing. So it's definitely not a 100% chance to be wiped out, but it's very likely that, yes, Buffalo do have this in the bag.
And also, mathematically speaking, BTS still has 4 games on the schedule. They're only 3 games down from both SBTC and Saigon. And even better, Team Secret, the team also sitting in front of them, does not play either of those teams coming into the end of the split. So if we see a miraculous run, BTS could still technically make playoffs and get as high as the 3rd seed. It's possible. It's unlikely, but it's possible. The BTS dream, the Drakthar comeback, does live still.
Yeah. BTS could theoretically finish 7-7, I think.
Yeah, 7-7.
So it's not likely. They have
they have a long way to go.
Very tough teams to play still, but I see the miracle run is what's going to sit in the back of our minds and be like, yes, it can happen. Let it happen. give us Drakthar and Glory and all the boys just reaching up into the playoffs and then getting 3-0'd in the first round.
Are we?
That's what we were dreaming of.
The interesting thing about the BTS Miracle Run is I don't care who comes forth unless it's BTS. Because Secret and SBTC have been so uninspiring this split. They're kind of just, one of them's going to get forth because someone has to. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, let it be BTS. Let's rock. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, Team Secret, I guess, beat GAM, so maybe that'd be mildly more interesting. But I agree, first Sky coming in fourth would be way more fun.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I was Rakan wrangling for a little bit, so I'm not sure if you guys already touched on it. But how does BTS get the upset? Did you guys already go over that?
We didn't go into actual detail. We just said it was possible.
Let's go. Where's their best shot?
Bot lane.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty much bot to mid lane. Mostly, I keep saying this every time they play, Glory needs to be unlocked. He is so much better when he's able to get out on the map and make things happen. Otherwise, he's just sort of sitting there scaling, and then they have to go to these late game team fights where they can actually shine, because otherwise they don't get off to a good lead. And if they don't have a good lead, they can't look to snowball, because if you're not ahead, you can't start a snowball.
I think on an island, everything that BTS brings in terms of laning strengths and individual strengths is slightly, if not completely, outclassed by pretty much every individual position on the side of Saigon and Buffalo. Their hope for this game is combining their powers much faster than what Saigon can, which is to say, I mean, you're throwing things like Galio into the mix. You're throwing things that get really heavy priority in your lanes into the mix. Getting Drakthar, a very powerful matchup, is definitely within the mix and things of that sort, because that's, in my opinion, if first this guy is going to do it, that's how they're going to do it. Is they're not going to be playing this laning phase. They're not going to be doing anything else. They're just going to immediately be skirmishing from minute one, because that's what BTS does the best.
So now the interesting problem is that's what Saigon Buffalo does best as well.
Yes, it's difficult.
This is something actually me and Marby in the car today were having a chat about. We were actually talking about G Media Luxury, but it's a conversation we can carry over here. Is even the bottom tier teams, with the exception of G Media, which is why we were talking about it, still have very strong identities, and BTS's identity is basically the same as Saigon's, and that's the problem because you're kind of just budget Saigon now. So theoretically, they'll just do it better than you.
I somewhat disagree with that notion of them being budget Saigon. Yes, they both like to play for the sort of early game focus, but they play it in very different ways. Okay. One is very heavily jungle and support focused. Well, I mean, I guess it's sort of the same. Taki and Binjay do like to go around, but they rely a lot more on Froggy joining them up. And then they sort of pick for that early game skirmish, then they try and get that snowball going, try and roll that into a win. Whereas BTS try to play that style whilst also picking for the late game, so that even if they don't get the snowball going, they can fall back to that. And we saw SGB doesn't do that, and that hurts them up against teams like GARM, teams like Cerberus that like to play for the late game, because if they can't win at that timer, they start to get out team for, unless there are heroics from Haasmid or the likes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Rebel, do you have any thoughts?
Nothing that doesn't just like supplement exactly what you guys are attesting to. I think if you're looking at one kind of difference in style, it is entirely possible there's a lot more focus that's put specifically into getting Glory ahead during the laning phase, rather than like Froggy tends to play more for his lanes as opposed to on the other side where Glory's playing for himself and people are playing to Glory. And maybe that's something that they can exploit if they find a decent enough mid matchup where it feels like Froggy's willing to play things like Twisted Fate and like Galio, as opposed to some of the more lane dominant stuff that Glory is going to bring, just because Glory is capable of carrying in the very correct situation where you get enough gold onto him. But outside of that, I actually do echo very much the sentiment that it feels like these two teams are very similar stylistically.
Yeah, I do agree. Like, yeah, Glory and Froggy are the biggest difference. That said, we are potentially on a new patch, maybe.
I wouldn't think so, but...
Well, even regardless, even 11.6, the power of Seraphine went down. That's been a huge pick for Froggy. Do you think her potentially not being as much of a power pick? I'm going to ask the question in a certain way. She's slightly less powerful. Does that help or hinder Saigon Buffalo? Because she might not get banned now.
That's I am of the opinion that she hasn't been strong enough to just like outright ban since 11.4. So if it takes it off the ban list, I think that's great. I do think her damage has gone down far enough that it's really difficult to make it play as a mid laner, only because you need to just build AP. If you're building AP out of the mid lane, like if you're building Ludens or Leandries or something along those lines, that's perfectly fine. And then you've got like a pretty aggressive champion who's got some great supportive capabilities. But if you're still building Moonstaff at this point with like a Chemtech Putrefier, I think the damage isn't there necessarily to be able to just first pick that anymore.
Fair enough. But if any team was going to do it, let's be real, it is the Buffalo. Speaking of picks, we're about to find out what they are as we head into the champion select. We have Azir, Tristana, Gnar, and Hecarim being removed. Rel follows. SGB on the blue side banning that one. A little bit interesting. Where do we think this draft is going to go, my good friend Marminogi?
Well, with these ban setups, you'd probably be looking towards the first pick, like the Thresh or the Udyr would have been my next guess, but with the Thresh taken off the board, realistically, that opens up so many different AD carries for variety. I expect to see the Jinx come out in the second wave, unless it's taken here by Vigar, but it's just going to be the Udyr and probably an ADC of their choice. Probably Kai'Sa because it's Vigar. Or, again, the takeaway.
I like that. I like that a lot. This kind of, if you want to go the hyper carry enabled by Thresh, you have to go to Aphelios now, who is still good, but Jinx is a cut above. I like that pick. That was a really good pick away by BTS.
Yes. And now, like, what do you pick for VJ in the jungle as opposed to Day? I know Lilia, I don't think it's actually... Oh, never mind. That question gets answered immediately. It's the Olaf that comes through. And then, I mean, if you're looking at ADCs, do you go for something like Aphelios that fits with the Thresh really heavily? Like, it's not a bad idea. I just feel like there's other ADCs that just fit better, maybe, or at least are more powerful.
I think if you want to take your AD carry here regardless, you could still go for the Kai'Sa and just say, we're just going to use Thresh for his utility. But picking up the Aphelios, either way, picking your ADC rather, it hides what your comp is. You don't have to reveal any solo lanes. So BTS now probably going to go for a similar sort of thing, pick a support. So this wouldn't be a bad idea to pick something maybe like Renekton and then ban out a couple of less favorable matchups that Hasmed might play.
Ooh. Okay, now this is something that I think Yulwei talks about a lot. Yulwei thinks that Lulu makes Jinx completely work. She is so difficult to kill with a Lulu protecting her. Olaf is sort of an answer to that, like, because normally, obviously, the anti-dive that Lulu does is polymorph. Can't really polymorph the ulting Olaf. But if they can navigate around the Olaf, Lulu just means you don't get to kill Jinx.
I kind of hope, it's not very likely, but if Glory has like slowly been practicing something like the Anivia to just drop off a wall and reduce that avenue for the Olaf, that makes Big Kara extremely difficult to get onto because, you know, anything else gets polymorphed and BJ gets walled out. But that's just wishful thinking. It's not the most likely thing to see. We'll probably see something like an Orianna instead. But we're seeing the top lane very heavily targeted. Ryuk probably wants to get on something very reasonably safe. I would assume he's going to get counterpicked because there is just that skill discrepancy. And Glory should just be fine on just about any pick they go for.
You would definitely think so. With the top lane bans coming in, that is 2 Hasmed staples removed, Orianna and Renekton. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard tell of this, but Akali is creeping back. The Titanic Akali. Getting a little buzz around. It's apparently pretty broken, and Hasmed can do some pretty magical things on the Akali, so something to consider as Ryuk will go back to the Sion. He's played it a few times now, and it's looked good pretty much every time. Sion's really strong.
Shogat is up.
Aatrox is also up. Those are the two. At least where I'm from, those are the 2 picks that are always picked into Sion.
Yeah, but do we want to do what NA does? Apparently we do. Okay. When are the imports coming? Cerberus? Hello?
Oh.
Well, it is the Aatrox. That is another Hasmed classic. He's very, very skilled on that. I think they want to go the Rise for the... Oh, okay, never mind. We'll have to see what it actually is.
So many options available. Victor, nice save, provides that little bit of extra wave clear that they really need to round out their comp. They do have a little bit of an engage problem, but it doesn't seem to be too much of an issue. The Lulu flex is an option. I don't think it's the most likely, but it could be. Oh, we've been saying, okay. We've been seeing this a little bit more often in other regions, as Everyday just dies.
No, I'm here. Sorry. I was.
Your camera's died. But, okay.
I'm moving.
No, it's back now. It went green and flickering. Yeah. So.
Okay.
We've been seeing it appearing a little bit more into the Victor specifically because you generally cannot counterplay it as Victor.
Victor can't do anything.
Your W takes way too long to activate, and LeBlanc is just too mobile. Plus, her chains are still stupid and need a huge range nerf. Personal opinion. just make it fun.
Your opinion.
It's just not fun. Anyway, go for it.
Regardless, I do think BTS have put together a very strong draft here. They've got some serious power picks. The Lulu Jinx bot lane is just hyper carry central. You have the Udyr and the LeBlanc to make sure Ariety can't counter the hyper carry. It's going to be much harder for Ariety to do his job than it is going to be for Big Cora to do theirs. I think Husmed has a pretty big weight on their shoulder this game. Rebel, what's your opinion on these two drafts and how they match up against each other?
I think BTS has done a really good job designing their composition. I think also being able to throw not only burst damage into an Olaf, but into the combination of like a Victor as well as an Aphelios really challenges their mid-fight positioning. And you pointed it out just a second ago. I think Hosmed's Aatrox is really the only thing that might have a massive problem for BTS written all over it. Because if you get into the state where Hosmed's got like 3,000 health, can sustain through all the burst damage that Glory's bringing, or if Glory doesn't pop off, there's no response to Aatrox at all. There's nothing that they can do to stop that champion from just ripping through their ranks or whatever it might be. So I have to have an expectation that Saigon, if they play through Aatrox, they're perfectly fine. And then the rest of the game is just theirs to outscale in with the likes of the Victor and the Aphelios. I still do really like what BTS put together, though. Unfortunately, I'll just make the prediction where I'm going to say it's probably still going to be Saigon either way.
Fair enough. Well, we'll check in with Rebel before the next game. I actually think this is BTS's best chance. I think they put together a really, really good draft here. I'll repeat exactly what I was saying. Is Husmed has a big weight on his shoulders. We'll have to see how he goes. Ooh, distracted, I get that word? Not quite, unfortunately.
Not quite enough attack speed, but I think, yes, Husmed is going to be the big focal point, but he is going to be... But in the early game, he needs to be accelerated by the mid jungle, and as a direct matchup, that's the most important. Who has the most impact? In this case, Glory should be able to get the shove, get the first roams, and do what Froggy does before Froggy can. So we really need to see him get out of this lane, try and make things happen, try and get his way down into the bot lane, set up Big Cora for success, or... Alternatively, you can go into the top side and just put Husmed in the dirt, and then they have no way to counter play into you. If your LeBlanc gets fed, she can just delete Olaf. Lulu's going to polymorph Husmed, and even if she doesn't, if you've camped Husmed to hell, he's not going to do anything because he's been set behind too much. That's in theory.
In theory, we'll have to see how the execution does come out. It's also worth saying this Victor, you said Glory has to out Froggy. It's actually probably not going to be that hard in this game. Victor is not a very Froggy champion. Not really one we expect Froggy to pick, not one that he can get out of the lane and really have the big impact that we expect out of Froggy. So this is a bit of a different look for SGB. Ariety has a lot to do. And Ryuk is having a bad time in the top lane, but not exactly unexpected in the matchup.
Definitely not. As he's able to get a bit more CS under him, he's going to get that natural tankiness from his W and slowly get healthier. He's hit level 2, so now he's getting those free stats, unless he skilled his E, which I don't think he will have because he's not exactly looking to bully the lane. So, and a very early teleport force. So that's really good for Husmed, but we have to see these junglers try and make something happen. Drakthar a little bit first onto the crab means that they have good setup to make something happen towards the bot lane.
And you can see that BJ has immediately read the situation, and Husmed is going over there and prepping the crab. It's good by good communication coming out of SGB, making sure that there was no chance of a double scuttle. That catastrophe does not occur, but speaking of catastrophes, that trade, Froggy absolutely chunked into the dirt. We'll wait for this wave to clear and then TP back to lane, but this is the TP advantage being equalized across the map now.
Yeah, unfortunately the LeBlanc teleport unless you're into the fight that's already broken out, isn't super impactful. You really need her to try and get behind the lines and make a deep flank. And Ryuk is just not having a good time. We're seeing BJ just keep hovering to the top side. He hasn't backed yet, so he's all right there. But now Udi is making his way up. They're going to try and relieve some pressure.
Yeah, he did manage to get the Krug camp steal. Also worth saying, Glory actually TP'd back to the mid lane. So SGB do maintain the TP advantage. As Husmed pushed very far up, but... Ooh, hello, we go down to the bot side as Elio's in trouble and is sent back to the Fae. As, Big Koro, can he get away? Still has that Gravitum tag on them. Will it come back off cooldown? It will. Orion wants to go under tower, and the lovely hook from the Tarkster will bring a double kill to the bot side, and SGB fly into the lead.
So here's the problem with Jinx versus Aphelios. Aphelios is still much stronger in the early game than Jinx is, and Elio, if you get a hook landing on you as Lulu, you just melt. You are very squishy. You have to play super safe in this lane, and it just gets punished. What we're gonna see what happens here. It's actually just walks too close and gets played into the CC chain from the Gravitum. It's just basic mistake, and then there's enough damage.
Oh, hello, in the picture-in-picture, we do have an invade going on, as someone has been caught out. It's BJ going down to Glory.
Yeah, kill going exactly where they want it, back onto the LeBlanc. She should be able to rush into that extra burst, get that Ludens underway. And that is what BTS needs to maybe try and salvage what looked like a little bit of a fumble, and maybe Glory can put things on his back. He's got one of the best damage shares amongst junglers. He does a lot for this team.
Ooh, Froggy.
Just that's that chain.
Yeah, but Glory a little bit too low, covered by Drakthar, so the Chaos Storm will not get a kill. Ooh, Big Koro needs to be careful. He's tagged up by the Gravitum. This is a bait. It's a bait, Marby, but Big Koro doesn't care. Big Koro does not get on the hook. It's going to be the 1-for-1, we have to imagine, as I don't think the Koro can escape. But now BJ has to flash. Lucky for him, he was not the Ghost Laugh.
Lulu just
going though.
Oh
no, Elio, you've overstayed, my friend. Elio, come on. He's playing like Lisa. And that was an unnecessary death.
Elio that BTS not retreating as a duo. They just left Elio to his lonesome. BJ, just not much he can do here. It's just CC into CC. No level 6 for the Olaf. Goes down very easily. And yeah, we just saw Elio not retreating with his jungler. They didn't quite have enough to keep Big Koro alive to kill BJ, and Drakthar wasn't able to get there to finish off the kill, and it just ends up being a 2-for-1 trade overall. It's good that Big Koro ends up with the kill, but Drakthar getting 2 kills means that catch onto him in the jungle has completely reversed. He is now absolutely fine.
Yeah, he is a very scary Olaf, and Olaf is going to be very important in this game as the one person that can reliably get through both the chompers and
also
the
look at top lane. It's a disaster.
Wow.
Poor Ryuk. He's had his CS almost tripled. It's gonna get to doubled now because at these low levels, every CS means so much. But maybe Drakthar can try and help out his top laner.
This is important.
Olaf's topside though.
Husband kind of can't die here though. Now with the Unstoppable Onslaught missing, they're just going to retreat. Husband playing a little bit of the bait game. Needs to be careful because Olaf was stopping for the crab. That's miscommunication out of SGB. BJ was not coming, but Husband outplays them regardless.
Yeah, overall the turnaround was a little bit dicey, but doesn't end up biting them too, doesn't end up biting Harsmed, and it's just going to be a free Rift Herald for BJ despite the jungler being on the top side for BTS, because Harsmed is just doing so much that it doesn't matter about this mid and bot lane. They can't do anything. The gold is 3,000 ahead, and honestly, most of that is probably in the top lane despite all the kills going on and the 0-0 scoreline.
See, the interesting thing here is that I think that gold lane is a little bit of a lie, because I do agree, it's in the top lane, but it's still a Scion. Now, he's getting beaten much harder than you want. Scion doesn't care if he loses lane, but you're not meant to lose by this much. That said, he is still going to be able to do his job in fights. He's just going to be a big old meatball. That's all he has to be. He's not going to be quite as big. You know, he's going to be, you know, an IKEA meatball instead of, you know, a proper restaurant one. But meatball all the same.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's where this gold is actually coming out. Glory just goes in and Froggy is all gold.
Glory's in a lot of trouble as the Chaos Storm is there. They've gone onto the clone, unfortunately. So Glory does get out, but Taki with a well-timed roam will save Froggy from any potential extended play.
Yeah, Glory messing up his distortions there and staying way too long in the gravity field ends up losing out on that trade. And I'm going to continue the point on the top lane because there hasn't really been like gold, like plate gold. I mean, there's been one plate or kills that's creating this gold lead. It's just CS, and because you don't have CS on Ryuk, you're losing out on so many extra stats. It's big.
Oh, hang on a minute. Big Koro is getting dove, but the Lulu's here for the wild growth, making that big jinx. But it doesn't matter how big she is when she's put in the ground. And now Drakthar arrives, trying to turn it around, but BJ, he falls, but now it's a 2v2. Alrighty, doing a lot of damage, gets polymorph. There's a teleport coming in for SGB as well. Drakthar on the run. I think he knows he is doomed as Husmed bearing on down. It's a last stand of the Drakthar. Alcove Gaming is unsuccessful.
And now Ilya is just sticking around. They don't have the wave to re-dive, so he's going to be safe. But it's just BTS being second to the play every time. And SGB, they're just forcing things. BJ running Drakthar around, and sorry, Rebel, you're going to have to get that toaster ready, it looks like, because your boy's getting out jungled.
Don't worry, that toaster's seen a lot of use for the Drakthar fan club. But they are recruiting, guys. Make sure you go sign up. They do give Rebel Franks and some free delicious toast on join, as Ryuk, caught out, manages to break the tether though. Good news, Husmed can't really kill the Scion. Can zone him off CS as long as he wants, but can't really kill him. And let's have a replay of the dive.
But killing is basically dying as a Scion. And yeah, look, there's a lot of protection coming out from the Lulu, but with the Fed Olaf and the Aphelios, there's just too much damage for Ilya to defend. Drakthar gets a big shutdown, so it's probably kind of worth in the 1-for-1, but with going down and the massive minion wave lost, it probably ends out not working out for the BTS. And with this Rift Herald, it's a lot of gold to BJ. Because already backed up.
It's all on BJ, as you said. That's not ideal there for BTS. I think you want to try and get some gold on your Aphelios. He does still need to be threatening. As the dragon is pulled, and it looks like BTS will actually be able to get both early game dragons. Saigon Buffalo not putting any attention towards that objective, just working on their personal gold lead. Saying, screw the soul. But this does give BTS a path to success, depending on what Rift
just top lane. He's being proxied. He's down 70 CS. We are going to be, if I'm Husmed, I almost just don't want to go for these turret plates. I want to keep this turret up as long as possible, extend this lane phase, keep this CS lead going.
Yeah. So, Marby, there's a term that some people in our chat might be tempted to use. Ooh, alrighty. Does get away. Bait. It was all a bait. The brinksmanship was excellent. There's the wild growth being used, but it's cancelled by the hook, and it's a double kill for the Aphelios. And maybe this applies to both lanes now. There's a term that our chat, I'm sure, is tempted to use. That term is Lane Kingdom. Do you think that's appropriate for what's going on in top lane? I think this is an empire.
It's something. It's certainly lane dominant. Kingdom again, might not be strong enough. The Empire, I still don't know if that's strong enough because
lane constitutional monarchy. Let's have a look at this replay. God, Taki's good.
These hooks are just magnetic. It's insane. Point and click ability. And BJ is just... He's going to need an Angler skin, Angler Olaf, because he is setting up his Aphelios on this hook extremely well and catching every big Koro that runs for him. 1, 4, and 1 for Big Koro, 1, 7, and 3 for that bot lane, and that is all of that is, well, not all, but almost all of SGB's kills. This bot lane is just hard griefing Glory. He's just sitting there on his 1 kill, like, deep? Oh, no.
Yeah, Drakthar is really looking at this game, wondering where it all went wrong, as, Glory is basically ungankable. BJ had an attempt as he ran past, no harm to try, but they are going to try and make something happen as the tower's gone down. This is the lane swap.
Oh, no.
To turn it around. He manages to get 1! It will only be the 1, but what a player.
But it's the one you least wanted it to go on. It's Big Koro. You wanted him to get the kill, and Ryuk's being dove.
Yeah, Ryuk, he's in a lot of trouble. Alright, he flashes forward, and down goes Sion. Ooh, need to be a little bit careful of the zombie, but he's just going for CS anyway. It's going to be another tower pressured. They already took the first. I'm actually not sure if it was first brick in the top lane, but regardless.
No, it was first brick in the bot lane, and then the rotation came through. So it's 2 turrets. It's gonna be 3 because Big Koro is not gonna be able to get there in time. But Froggy was to defend the bot lane tower, and it's just and BTS is just floundering across this map. They are just trying to make plays, but SGB responds with their play, but better because Hasmed, he actually has gold. He has a lot of gold. Ryuk doesn't.
No. Shockingly enough, Ryuk certainly does not.
Got a nice amount of CS though. Oh, not anymore.
Haha, the funny number. Haha, funny number, mommy. I'm gonna come hit you while you sleep. I can do that now. That's a real threat. Glory and Hasmed going back and forth, and as we said, this is the fear for BTS. If Glory's burst doesn't scare Hasmed, the game is basically over. This burst has to be scary. And it's anything but.
Unfortunately for Blanc, her build is very expensive, especially this Ludens that she has to go into. So Hasmed's going to be very, very happy for a while. Not going to be able to spec into things like the Morellos to keep Hasmed down. But as long as as long as the 4 stack can keep SGB away, they have a decent amount of wave clear. Maybe Glory can develop into a split pusher that can try and give them a way back into this game. And if they can keep this dragon stack going, if they can sneak this away, maybe they can be tanky enough.
That's a long, long road back, Mr. Mabinogi. As they have a huge mountain to climb.
Fortunately, they do.
Sure if we're going to be able to, as they are grouped in the mid lane. Both teams ready for the dragon. They want that mid priority. Alrighty, with decent guns for the fight, at least in terms of survivability, not so much in terms of damage. Herald summoned up. This will confirm their priority, as there is 10 seconds on the dragon. Glory moves forward, but can't get anything done. Oh my god, these hooks are so good. Straight in.
Oh, here comes Drake.
Here comes the unstoppable onslaught. Bang, the shutdown. Jinx gets excited. This could be the start of the turnaround. But look at Hasmed. He is huge, but he can't get the kill. That's crucial. Big Koro now with 2. Big Koro's full health. That's 3. He's running forward. This is a Jinx. Triple kill for Big Koro. And suddenly this game is interesting.
And the team fighting comes together for BTS. Glory is able to slip through and keep CC down onto Hasmed. The grievous wounds on Elio come up and let Jinx pop off completely untouched in that fight. We see here Glory just getting a bit of her ass, but it's this massive engage from Ryuk, rather, flash bear slap into the full charge of the ultimate, and then it's just Hasmed frontlining. Glory able to survive by the skin of their teeth. Ryuk as well. I'm amazed that they weren't able to kill these solo laners, but that's where all the damage went, and guess who's here? It's Jinx. You left her alone, and she still does a lot of damage with that Kraken Slayer.
Yeah, see, now Jinx is caught right up. She might have 5 deaths, but that doesn't matter. The kill counter is what matters in this situation. They still didn't get this mid lane tower, as Ariady is trying, but with the arrival of Ryuk, it gets a little bit dangerous. Hook lands. I don't think they're going to be able to get a kill, but they will be able to get good poke. Ariady needs to start playing this one a little bit safer. In that last fight, he took the baiting a little bit too far, I think it's safe to say, and got absolutely destroyed.
And now it's much easier for Jinx to do the exact same thing. If she doesn't get touched, she does that damage a lot faster with their Runans, able to just spread out those rockets across the whole team. And glory!
Pop goes the Aphelios! And that is getting scary for the Buffalo. The BTS miracle run, the BTS comeback. Did you ever doubt Drakthar? Really? Come on, teams with Drakthar don't lose.
It's not about Drakthar in this game. It's about my boy Glory coming in huge. He's got his Ludens. He's got his Silk Shoes. He has his burst. Aphelios, beware. Now, he doesn't quite have enough to deal with Hasmed. He's got a little bit of grievous wounds on his kit, so that's nice. Maybe needs to build towards something like a Lichbane to help with that split push. But with this 4-man stack in the mid lane, they're going to get this turret. Big Kuro playing it extra safe with that flash, but the return damage is already quite a lot. That was 2 autos and already a third of Froggy's health gone.
Yeah, they need to play this super safe. Sorry. But Bikuro's flash does mean that SGB have good opportunities at the moment, because this is going to be a bit of the Big Koro show, which we could have told you from draft. This Jinx definitely carrying the hopes of BTS on her back.
And because this game has spread open, they haven't been able to keep the CS lead going in the top lane. Ryuk has managed to keep the CS lead at around 60 to 70, and he's picked up a few assists, so he's actually getting some gold under his pockets. He's got his mythic, he's got his basic armor set, and he's ready to go. There's a lot of grievous wounds on there to deal with Hasmed and Binjay.
They don't stack, guys. Just saying.
I mean, they don't stack, but they have lots of ways to apply it, and it's always the strongest one. So if he's not attacking Ryuk, it's being applied through Glory or Elio.
Yeah, I definitely don't mind the 2 grievous wounds. I think the Chemtech Purifier is overkill. But let's not talk about overkill, because Baron has been started. They do this on top of a ward. There is full vision. SGB are baiting a fight here. BTS are not biting, though, or not biting in time, as there's only 2,000 health left on this Baron. The worm is secure.
Yeah, it's late rocket from Big Koro, but maybe they can take the fight on the other side.
Oh, the train comes into the station, but look at Ariady. He's got a lot of chakras firing in. The first kill onto the big tank. Ryuk, in the zombie form, is making Hasmed's life very hard. He has to exit the fight. Big Koro now whipping. No Super Mega Death Rocket, though. As Taki lands a hook, Ariady moving forward with the Gravitum. Can he get anything done? He should be able to bind at least one up. He flashes forward. Over gets Glory. On the other side, Drakthar has picked up a kill. But Elio now being bared down upon. Hasmed will pick that one up. And we're 1-1 in 2 fights.
Drakthar's cutting the wave, so they're not going to be able to push that through into anything right at this moment. But, the turret placement from Ariady does so much. Big Koro and Glory cannot chase, and they just take so much Graviton damage. It completely wins that team fight out. And also, we have to say, BTS's frontline, it's so far down, especially Ryuk, that they cannot be that meatball. They just melted so quickly under Ariety's focus fire. Also, not a lot of magic resist. So here we see, it's a good start. Binjay's completely taken out, but Ryuk just melts instantly. He's gone. He's gone. And the wild growth is used too. So now there's no way for them to chase through. There's a turret down there spitting out so much damage onto Big Koro, and look, it's just disaster. And then, yeah, the chase down is too good. Drakthar able to actually clean up Binjay on the back end and cut the wave, which saves SGB from running away with the play. But, oh god, it's just excellent turret placement, and this front line is just so far down, and it's really hurting BTS come these fights.
But we're going to have round 2 pretty much immediately, but it's not going to be in time to get the soul, but here they go. It's a Sion engage on top of Glory, but Glory doesn't do enough damage, and now Husband, full health, wing spread, he's angry! It's 2 for Froggy though. Koro, he could move forward. Can he actually get anything done? He picks up 1, but that will be it! It's only Elio alive, getting chased on down. I don't think they'll even bother chasing the Lulu. SGB win 2 back-to-back and are back in full control.
And we're seeing how it's happening. It's all on Ariety. If Ariety lives, these fights go SGB's way because he can cut through these front lines. Froggy doesn't really have the ability to. Hasmed is just insanely tanky for an Aatrox, able to heal up a lot. He's not even actually getting a lot of healing down. He's just really tanky with that Spirit Visage build. And it's just not working out for them. We're seeing a lot of free damage coming out from Big Karo, able to do a lot of just auto attacks, but it's not doing any real damage to Hasmed. He's just able to survive through it. Big Karo not able to chase through, and then Ariety just left alone, able to heal up with that Severum and Infernum combo, keeps himself alive, and it's not working out. Ryuk, he's finding big ultimates, but then always onto the front line. And that is not where he needs to be landing them, because he's kind of stunning himself in that regard and getting blown up.
Pretty much. We do see the potential in Big Koro. Definitely does a lot of damage, but he's completely unable to actually deal that damage between the zone control of Taki and Froggy. And I want to give shout outs to Taki. He has been absurd on this Thresh, not just hooks, but amazing flays, amazing box positioning, just fantastic play. Taki, rising star of the support category, and he's definitely outperforming Elio, at least today.
Yeah, so we've come up to a good item breakpoint on the side of BTS, but it's being and they're actually at relative parity, except again for this top lane, where you're just seeing Ryuk so far down. He's been Flame Horizon finally, and that is just, he's got one item. He needs that Thorn Mail to be complete. He needs that extra armor. He needs a Randuin's to survive this onslaught from Ariety. And without that, he's just going to melt unless they can do what they did in that first team fight and pop him instantly. It's going to be Glory needing to find these better flanks, look to put some deep wards down to find those, and stop Ariety from being able to just pop off freely, because their front line, despite being 2 bruisers compared to 2 full tanks, is just much bigger, at least in effect.
Yeah, absolutely. And the issue now is that Ariety has a stopwatch. This probably turns into a Guardian Angel. Now, I know certain other casters on our stream have a problem with it. I actually don't mind the Guardian Angel here. I think if you can survive the initial burst, the Aphelios can actually heal up and basically carry the team fight. I think this is a good GA.
There's so much damage on the rest of your team that you can get away with just eating the burst from Glory, because then they just turn around, blow up the LeBlanc, or at least force her out of the fight. The tanks aren't very squishy.
Huge mistake out of Taki, though. Will get cleaned up. Never mind! He's living! God. Oh my word, Marby! What are we witnessing? How have they won the fight off the back of that? Alright, he flashes forward, gets the double bind, gets a big heal as well. There it is, the critical. It's a triple kill for him. Elio now on the run, will not get pulled back by Aatrox, but will get popped up. Is Ariety going to get in range? Not quite, because he was pushing the wave, but they will chase this Lulu off to the side. Husband on Faye hunting duty. The rest of SGB running up the mid lane. They want to take the inhib. Elio escapes, but that is a very much a participation award as the push towards the next.
It's just a Lulu, they can end.
Yeah, this is game, and I cannot believe it comes back on. I'm going to call it the Taki bait. I thought he got caught. No, Taki's just too smart. The Nexus is exposed, and SGB, with only one little fumble, will take game 1 over BTS and stamp their way into this series.
The disengage on the side of SGB meant that even if they could find a pick on BTS's side, if they didn't convert it instantly, they couldn't finish it off, and they just got funneled into the choke point. The center collapsed, the sides closed in, and they got shreked.
That they did. It was a massive performance out of all of SGB. I was particularly impressed by Taki, but obviously Huzmed. I mean, honestly, all 5 of them had a fantastic performance. It's going to take a lot for BTS to get back into this one. We'll have to see how it goes. And with that, we will be taking a bit of a 10-minute break. Don't go anywhere, guys. I'm going to try and cool down. It is hot in here. We'll be back in 10 minutes for more action. See you then.
We
And welcome.
Oh,
This is gone. We never organized who was actually gonna go.
We're back. Every day's not here. He gave up, okay? After Drakthar lost, he gave up. Understandably.
Yeah. All right. Well, Rebel, welcome back to the desk. What was your take on Drakthar's utter failure?
I gotta be honest, I actually thought Drakthar had an okay performance that game. The dragon stacking was like, it was right there. It was like right there. And Big Korra was like a few auto attacks off of having a couple of big fights. But for the most part, it was Saigon in control the entire time, as would have been expected off the back of Taki just continues to make every other support look like garbage in the VCS somehow. He's somehow just amazing. There were a few blunders, but he's just so good.
Yeah, top and bottom, top and support, both polar ends of the map, really showing up and taking over, beating their counterparts into the dirt. That really was the major thing that swung it in the favor of SGB. Taki finding good picks in the early game to set up the kills, set up the Aphelios, and put Jinx into the dirt. They found their way back into it off a good team fight, but as the game went on, one team had a much better front line. And welcome back, every fan.
Sorry, I'm fixing it.
Please don't say every fan.
Oh. Damn it! Websites have ruined everything. Anyway.
Websites have ruined everything. Yeah, getting into the game two, it was interesting. I wanted to make a really big point that, like, Saigon is amazing, and they're an amazing team. I will say, like, do you remember Burst the Strategy when they were percent last year? How bad
strategy
the team lost? Do you remember how bad that team was when they lost? They looked okay this series. They lost pretty convincingly, and it still wasn't the most terrible game I've ever seen in my life. Like, the amount of growth from our bottom teams has been immaculate in the VCS. Like, I got to give them appreciation for that at minimum.
Yeah, Burst the Sky, especially their early game, has improved immensely. So it means that if they do lose, they don't just get rolled over. They can actually try and hold on to reach the stages where they show up, like those team fights. And now SGB, they're on the red side. They don't want that Thresh going over to Ilya.
Ryuk has been kicked after getting Flame Horizon, unfortunately. BTS
oh no! Oh no!
Hello, friends. Am I audible?
Yes. Hello.
Yeah.
Hi. Is my fan too loud? Is it okay?
I am your fan, so if I'm too loud, then you can tell me.
Yeah, I had to move rooms. It was too hot. But we are into the draft, and, well, Drakthar just got Hecarim.
It's true. However, he lost his top laner. So we're going to have to see how TH performs. In theory, should perform a little bit better in the lane. It does depend on matchup. Maybe Ryuk's mental is just kind of shot. But should perform a little bit better into lane. But Ryuk in the team fights was still doing absolutely fine. He was just so far in the hole that it wasn't his fault. He was just didn't have stats.
Well, that's a very strong first rotation out of SGB, securing an incredible bot lane of Rel and Kai'Sa. I'm not believing that until it's locked in. So we can just talk about how the Rel and Kai'Sa synergy has been a proven dominance at so far.
So we have seen a bit of Draven before.
Don't get hated.
Big Korra plays Draven. It's good into this. It's kind of good into this matchup because you can just beat down the Rel with how slow she is. But
Alistar exists right now, right? Alistar and Leona both exist, and they're both decent lanes into Rel. Alistar's been the bigger one, but, like, okay. I don't know why. This is a lane that I've seen, like, 3 or 4 times into the likes of Rel, and, like, I don't get how this is a good lane into Rel. Like, I see what the champions do, and I'm just like, but apparently it works, so I'll give credit where credit's due to players who figured this out, apparently.
My take on why Leona is good into Rel is you have the ability to shut off the follow-up, which is completely denied here by the Olaf pick. So you can deny a lot of the follow-up with your Solar Flare if you see Rel dive in, or / you can go through her with the Zenith Blade. Plus, you're very tanky as well, so you get to survive a lot of it, I guess. It's harder for them to pick you. I don't know. I think Alistar is still better. But
I mean, Rel's engage is extremely easy as well. And Leona is the counter to it. Leona is one of the only counters. I know you're talking about the Alistar, I kind of think Leona's easier. And countering easy with easy, particularly when you're a team like BTS, makes a lot of sense to me. Mid lane bans coming in fast. Froggy and Glory, both pressure points that want to be pushed down on by the other team.
yeah.
There is a Jalio ban though that hasn't been taken off the board yet, so that's still a possibility for either mid laner.
Gallium-Mate's kind of fallen out of favor recently, so I wouldn't be surprised if that gets let completely through. We have to see where SGB wants to go. I would assume they're picking their mid laner on R4. You could take away the Victor and force Buffalo to do something a little bit more dangerous. Yep, there we go. And so what's left really for Froggy to work with? I guess at this point you are falling back to the Galio with the amount of bans.
Poo-poo, man, it was the Galio.
But there has to be a counter here, because this was obvious. When you ban the Orianna Victor, you have to have the Lucian or something ready.
What you can do is just go Irelia Lucian right now if you really wanted to, and then that way, no matter what Harsmed ends up picking, you have that good flex potential. Instead, BTS decides we hate good flex potential and are just going to lock things in. And now you have a blind pick Camille
Interesting.
into a Harsmed.
There's, I was gonna say Renekton is available, and that seems like the ideal pick. I don't think
aggressive.
Very spicy.
And it's in!
Here we go, top lane Lucian. Alright, if anyone was going to do it, it's Husband. He wants to punish a Camille. I don't really know how this matchup goes. It doesn't seem like it would be that dominant for Lucian. I'm sure he wins, but by how much?
It's very much that lane, like range versus melee matchup. Housemed's going to get a lot of poke down, but the all-in potential from TH, especially once he's hit about level 5, is just going to be enough to completely one-shot Harsmed if he wants to, so if he lands everything. So it's going to be a lot like Jace, I believe. I reckon. A little bit safer on the side of Harsmed, but
it may also
like
be
Jace
a
Camille.
swap. There may also be a swap.
Yeah.
Because Galio is kind of okay into Camille. You can just taunt every time she hook shots, and kind of take the fire out of her trades. And then you send your Lucian to just bully her eyes.
The only downside then, is Galio into Camille plus Hecarim, and that ends up really painful.
You also run into, like, Saigon's composition doesn't have the most magic damage in the world, where it's like, okay, Froggy does a good amount, but usually builds for, like, there's a number of things. I've seen even Chem Tank started to pop up on, like, 11.5 back when this started to get picked, because Galio, again, like you said, really kind of fell out of favor for the most part. And Ariety could build for more AP, but this is still relatively low AP. So now it's like 2 games in a row where I feel like BTS's draft has actually been quite a bit better, even though we don't expect them to win just off of their own individual performance. It's not the drafts that have been the problem, which is a little shocking to me.
Well, hey, considering that's normally the first hurdle VCS teams fall at, it's good that they're getting over it, but are you predicting a 2-0, my good friend?
Yeah, I still have to say that this is probably going to be a 2-0.
Fair enough. We'll find out as we get onto the Rift. It's going to be me and my lovely, dearest friend, Mabinogi. What do you make of this one? Where do you think BTS can leverage some power to actually run away with this one?
So it's all going to be this top side. The Lucian is going to be pretty much perma-pushing. Your bot lane is extremely safe. You have Xayah, one of the safest data carriers in the world. You have Elio on this Leona, in theory, to defend against the engage potential SGB has. So I think if you just take this top, if you just take this Hecarim and repeat gank top over and over again, especially post 6 when you have that lockdown of the Hextech ultimatum, you can just farm TH up into you can farm Harsmed into a point where TH gets to just do Camille things and have Cho'Gath and put Cho'Gath ult to shame.
Let's see if they do get to that stage. As we can see immediately that, it's not going to be a fun early few levels. Husband zoning TH all the way back, not allowing him near these minions whatsoever. What do you think about bringing TH back in? You know, we had heard rumors that he had been released from the team, but evidently not.
That's what I was under the impression he was just outright gone, but nope, still in. I don't think Ryuk necessarily is a player that you need to say drop out, as Froggy just gets wrecked by Glory in this lane. I don't think you necessarily needed to, but
dang! The flash forward, and it's Glory with a solo kill at level 2.
Well, that's how you stop your bot lane from feeding first blood. Just take it yourself. And Glory stepping up, saying he does not want to lose. He is putting this team on his back. But yeah, look, I think there's probably some extra stuff as we see Drakthar coming to top.
My stream is lagging, but I'm trying to get there. It's alright. I'm back. Husband on the run. He's very low. He's down. I apologize. That was my fault. But there we go.
Yeah, and Drakthar recognizing that Husband, he's going to be pushed up time and time again. We're seeing a teleport come in, so TH has to be a little bit careful. Has no flash. Olaf now approaching this top side, but it's just straight back to business for Ahmed. Teleports in to keep the push. Does not let TH get his reset.
Oh, no.
He gets away, but Olaf on the top side, has to be extremely careful. That's a bit of a wave denied for Harsman. Luckily, he has that kill to work with.
BJ hits the smite, and look at the jungle CS. It's getting dire. Drakthar is currently getting completely schooled. It is not going to be any crab for Hecarim either. No crustaceans for the pony. Which is good, really. Don't feed your horses seafood. It's not good for them.
Yeah, luckily he has that assist in his back pocket to help, but Olaf just re-invading time and time again, has pressure in both solo lanes as Glory is just as this shove from Galio. That's what it's called. Shove from the Galio is working out very well as Glory's churned through a lot of his mana, does not have the ability to shove out quite as aggressively. But as said, Crab's taken on the bot side by the bot lane. That's going to give them a little bit of a CS lead, as otherwise it's all about even in that bot lane. But small lead for BTS, thanks to the solo kill from Glory and this good gank from Drakthar. Now we just need to see a bit of a return once level 6 comes in, because there's no flash for Harsmed. Ghost will be back up by then, and you can just rinse and repeat time and time again.
Yeah, particularly with the Hextech Ultimatum, that is basically a free kill. Almost nothing Husband can do to outplay it, as long as they do go back up there before Flash. Flash might come up before level 6. Don't think so, though. No, not with TH already hitting level 5. You can also go to the mid lane, of course, Froggy with no Flash, and the easy Rune Prison setup. So currently Drakthar with a lot of options, but does have to make up this CS lead.
Yeah, and at this point, you're not going to be making it up on the map. So Drakthar needs to be very aggressive with his pathing, try and make sure he can get these ganks off, because, yeah, he's not going to be able to get it back just by neutrally farming. Maybe you look towards the mid lane in the immediate future so you can try and convert that into a dragon rather than go to the top side and give that up. Rift Herald will be up in a couple of minutes, though, so if they hold off till then, that will line up very nicely with the level 6 from TH. So we're seeing a very aggressive push into the jungle, trying to get Drakthar back into this game. Very good work from Glory, helping out his jungler, trying to get them as much advantage as they can get.
Yeah, and they do steal away that chicken camp. Olaf definitely not happy about that one, but the gap still grows. It's only 1 level in experience. Once it gets to 2, the alarm bells start ringing, but 1 is okay. As this is a huge push for the BTS bot lane. This should be a completely free recall for them, as that has to get cleaned up. Culling is used on the top side. Bullies TH all the way back.
Harsmed doing very good job at hard shoving that wave, clearing it out so he hits level 6 first. Being able to push TH back means he's going to buy himself a little bit more time. This bot lane though, there's no big go. This is a disaster.
Yeah, this is a real disaster as Galio comes in. Drakthar is dead. Oh, silly move there, I think, out of BTS. Just getting caught sleeping. And that gives SGB, they're equal in gold. They'll pick up the first dragon as well. And Elio, he's very far forward, but they are going to go for it into the Blade Caller. This is a good kill onto Taki. Can they extend it onto Variety? They get his flash. That's a pretty good result.
Yeah, very well timed flash out of Variety, reacting instantly to Elio. They do get the kill back. That's nice, but it all came from a really poor reset timing from Big Caro. Took the time with his jungler on the bot side as TH is going for the kill. Glory's up here. That's just an instant kill.
It should be, but TH goes low. Husmed very close to outplaying, but doesn't quite get there. It is going to be the Lucian going down. So far, this counter pick not paying its dividends.
Yeah, it's just too easy to gank time and time again. They sort of did it a little bit rough by not letting Husmed shove out. Of course, with his jungler on the other side of the map, probably lets them shove into him. And here we just see, Big Coro is taken aback, and Drakthar and Elio, they're still shoving up, being very aggressive, trying to get that crab, and it just means that once the collapse comes in, they have no response. Elio does a little bit of cheekiness, though. Big Coro is on his way back, as they know, and then they decide, time to kill Taki. He has very low mobility, has already lost his shield from that initial gank, so he's not quite as tanky in that clothes form as she might think. Gets blown up, gets killed, and we see a long auto attack from Variety as it follows Big Gar back to base.
The Predator popped by Froggy, not actually going to make a play out of it though, as Husmed is being gifted a wave of CS, the most Froggy move you'll ever see, just completely giving up a wave. But this Lucian pick has kind of, I said it before, but I want to actually go into it a bit, has failed. It's behind in CS, it's died twice. This was a counter pick. Husmed took a risk, and it's really not paid off.
Nope, it really hasn't. And the thing with Lucian is, it's an early game champion. I mean, the damage for Lucian scales extremely well, just the short range makes it a little bit harder to deal. But it's such a strong early game champion, you should be looking to play through it, especially with this Olaf. Camille is most vulnerable at those early levels. Should have taken the opportunity to try and get Husmed head. Instead, it's Drakthar that leaps on to swing in this top lane matchup. And now Camille off to a very good start. If she finishes off her mythic, she will just be an unstoppable force on the side lane. Galio sure as hell isn't going to match her. Lucian has already been bullied around, and if continues to fall further behind, got good news for TH. It's going to rely on a lot of just pure player diff from Husmed.
Yeah, and particularly because this is going to be that Shirelia's Galio that Froggy has been playing. Of course, Shirelia's is a good mythic on Galio, but it does pigeonhole him out of doing anything in the side lane, because he'll just die to TH. He'll just kind of fall over.
Yeah, he'll end up dying to Glory as well, despite, to have that massive magic damage shield. It's just not going to work out for them. And BTS, very good job. Nice. Trying to hold the wave, not letting Variety get further ahead, letting Big Coro catch up in CS and experience. They've done a very good job at sort of keeping this wave state, keeping the game rather slow paced, which works out extremely well for BTS. They scale much better as a composition. They have the Rise to work with, of course, which, tends to tip the scales into your favor in the late game no matter what. Plus a lot of dive and potential to help keep Glory safe. So keeping it slowed down isn't necessarily a bad thing. Again, I would like to see a little bit more of a focus onto the top side from Drakthar, especially while there's nothing to take on the map. So you might as well just get the free kill, push towards that turret. But no, just looking to farm, and because he's not being as aggressive as he really needs to be, so we see a bit of an engage, gets the cleanse out.
Froggy charging forward though, very fast, managing to get there, but with a teleport on the other side. Now it's SGB retreating. It's Glory arriving. Froggy taking a lot of damage, but flashing away well. Up on the other side, BJ has finally paid a visit to the top side and cleaned up Camille.
Yeah, and it's the stronger 2v2 coming out. Oh, never mind.
Oh no, this could be where it all turns as there's a kill for Kaiser. Elio going low. Big Koro trying to get those feathers down, but Taki is there. Just have to wait for the remount. There it is. There is the feather storm and the flash. Can they get under the tower? No, not quite. Big Koro will survive, but it's still a disaster for BTS.
What's that flash? It was garbage
no. Hello, this is not over as the teleporters come in. The CC changed straight onto TH, but this could be the turn. Now Taki's the target. TH low, but alright, he has no mana. They're trying to go forward. One more auto attack will do it, and down goes Zaya. The teleport just adds a further 1-for-1.
TH, what are you doing? Your ADC has no follow-up. You're teleporting into basically a 3v1. TH, you lost it. Yeah, you threw it. No, I mean, it was already bad for them. Elio, Glory, they overstay and do not respect the re-engage from Taki, and here we just see it's a good counter game from BJ. He's just here first, and they don't. And Drakthar just sort of bails way too early. Could have easily cleaned up Husband and then fought BJ down in the 2v1. Maybe it doesn't work out. Maybe it goes 1-for-1 overall. But at what he actually did, just doomed TH to nothing. He gets it back, I guess. He gets it back because of an overreach from BJ more than anything. And yeah, on the other side, SGB just have so much re-engage with the Rel and Galio that BTS did not respect it, and TH ints a kill.
Yeah, a little bit, but it is going to be SGB picking up their second dragon. This time they are the ones to jump on the early stats. We go over to an Ocean Rift. Yue, he thinks this one is completely useless. So
he's wrong.
Not good news.
It's
arguable.
There is a lot of more healing reduction in the game, but it's still an insane amount of healing in team fights, especially if you pair it up with the just amount of healing, the amount of shielding and whatnot that's going to come through.
I actually think Yue's point is a little bit different. Yue's point isn't so much about healing reduction, it's that burst is so high that you don't get a chance to actually utilize your healing because you just get burst. But anyway, let's not dwell on that. We can talk about it tomorrow when the man himself is in the cast. Because I think you're both right. It is now a 4-0 caster. It's now a caster with a Kraken Slayer. And is it enough, though? Is it enough to counteract the fact that your Lucian pick has gone wrong and there is a Rise scaling?
It depends on how they continue to play this map out a lot. If BJ and Taki keep being first to the play and keep the momentum up, yes, they should be able to bring Hasmed back into the game / keep a variety just so far ahead and so safe from that return damage that, yeah, it should be enough. They're rotating her up extremely quickly here, but this is the second hour, so they're allowed to get away with it. But oh god, Drakthar?
Drakthar's been caught out, but it is a hacker, very, very fast, manages to get out of there. Alrighty, doesn't want to let this end. It's a 2v4 on the top side, but there is, of course, a tower. Culling used, cancelled early. TH chunks down hard. There's the immediate kill. Bingo, bango, bongo. SGB take the lead.
Yeah,
well,
and they
not quite gold-wise, but realistically.
And they immediately turn into a turret, and they're going to get a charge off on the second. They could probably pick it up if BJ wants to stick around for it. So only Big Koro coming to respond. Yeah, that's a free turret. Oh no, Ilio's here.
Yep, they have arrived. There's a kill onto BJ. Can they trade one back? Ooh, the feather storm.
Yes, they can.
Taki has massively overstepped. This has got so many kills. Galio coming in. But
Rise on the flank.
Right. Here it is.
Oh, no,
Hasmed counter flank. He outflanks the flanker. And down goes Rise.
Oh no, they completely lost track of Hasmed in that fight. Glory had the big brain idea to wrap around, but Hasmed was there, catches him in that tribe rush, and blows him up. That completely undoes the plays that BTS had set up. Good recovery from the bot lane, though. They managed to save the tower. They managed to get a few kills. Unfortunately, they do not pick up that Kai'Sa, who is now 5-0, has that huge 500 gold bounty on her. So it all really comes down to, does Ariety continue to pop off, or can they shut her down? Once again, it's all on Ariety. If Kai'Sa dies, it's a win for BTS. If not, I think it's still a win for SGB.
But the thing is, it's very difficult to kill this Kai'Sa with the amount of pile in. And let's have a look at the replay. There's not honestly much to see here. This is just an overreach by SGB.
Yeah, they don't count for Elio appearing on the side. Then a good ultimate from Big Car. I think here they probably could have tried to commit. Maybe they commit Elio and go for a sort of 1-for-1 trade, but they see Glory on the flank. Drakthar is just dead, caught out in the wrong position.
Factory.
Yeah, it's been a really rough game for Drakthar. He had that one good gank, and then he just sort of panicked and thought, I'm so far down in CS, I need to get all my CS back. I need to keep farming. No! Gank! Gank is more gold! Gank is more gold than CS! And you had such a free opportunity on Harsmed, time and time again. You had great setup from all your lanes. You could have gone anywhere, but he just decided, no, I want to farm. I want to be boring. I want to completely undermine the Drakthar fan club's hype and just go so hard for CS. And look, he was just sitting there in that bush.
Yeah, he was hatching the ward.
He just dies.
Yeah,
dies.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Drakthar has been caught out. Still have a lot of impact. Is the tank Hecarim, of course. So don't want to count him out of this one yet. This is a close game. You can see the gold is practically dead even at 18 minutes. We'd love to see it. And it's the Ariety show right now. 6-0-2. Collector complete. Can now get those huge executions. Is currently the strongest character in the game by quite a margin. But as you said, if Kai'Sa dies, if Ariety misplays, BTS are very far ahead in that fight.
Yeah, unfortunately for them, it's a very close gold lead, but look where that gold is allocated as TH. Just going to get poked down, not going to be killed off. Celio, what are you going?
Going in, very far ahead of the rest of the team, taking a lot of damage, but the Hecarim will join the play. But Ariety currently completely unmolested, moving forward. The health bars are low, and it's Taki setting up the play. Ariety knocking them down. Bing, bang. It's another big fight win for SGB.
Why? Lisa, stop! He goes in so far, so early, just ends up baiting his team because they have to commit everything to try and catch up. They aren't able to get onto Ariety because they have to follow up onto the tanks. And it just goes disastrously for BTS. They do not have that range in their composition to get away with it. They get blown up. They just lose the dragon. They lose the mid lane turrets. They lose everything on the map due to poor decision making, poor use of the Zenith Blade. Oh no, Elio's just blown the game right open for SGB. Those item breakpoints. There's Kai'Sa on her collector already. Her Q is gonna get kills left and right now.
Yeah, and this game really illustrating that KDA doesn't mean everything because it has been a huge sup diff, but in the favour of SGB, despite the fact that Elio has the better KDA with those 3 kills. The Rel has been ridiculously effective. Taki having an amazing series. Sometimes Taki does fly under the radar, as many support players do. It's just sort of the plague of the position. But he is so good. Such a prodigy of a player coming in for their first split.
Yeah, this split has been a cracker of an opener for Taki. This back end of the split is making it really tough to decide who's going to be the rookie. Is it going to be him or BJ? Because they've been both popping off this year so far, and SGB look to start up the Baron. They have so much damage with this double ADC comp.
No one coming in.
Realm Warp just to spot it out. Harsmed teleporting in. Oh, he wasn't even here. But Taki's just looking to sign them off.
Yeah, and Taki won't die. There was an attempt at a steal there by Drakthar, but it is just an attempt. He goes
the
down,
damage they don't have.
Culling straight into the choke. They've already picked up one. They pick up, a counter kill. Looking pretty good, but can they actually get anything more? TH arrives. They do find onto Ariety, but an axe will get the counter kill. TH has to get out of his own ultimate as he's taken so low. BJ going down.
What have you done?
Getting aggressive. I think he thought it was last chance saloon, and it may well have been correct.
Kara not critting when he needs to. He doesn't have that big damage. He used his burst already from the Gale Force to pick up Froggy, and we're just seeing the damage differences coming out. Big Kara not finding that last amount of damage. That Mountain Drake, that little bit of extra health. Look at Taki's fighting 3 people, including both damage dealers, basically by himself. Takes so long to die. Doesn't actually die at all. It's Froggy that ends up suffering. And here we just see Kara really trying to get things to happen, but no one's chasing into that choke point. No one's gonna fall for that fallback. And they overcommit to kill Taki. They don't get the kill at all. Then Big Kara overcommits to not get a kill onto B&J. And you're just trying to reach. You're seeing these low health targets. You're just there. But you lose.
They did lose. They really, really did. This is a bad situation for BTS, to say the least. They are now 5k gold down. One more Drake will give the Ocean Soul over to SGB. The SGB, of course, currently carrying that Baron buff as well. I mean, look, Galio's gone second item Cosmic Drive. He feels comfortable enough to do that. Yeah, that's a bad situation.
Yeah, you're seeing BCS trying to get as much gold as they can off on this counter push, and it's gonna work out for them pretty well. They're gonna pick up these 2 towers. A really good use of the Realm Warp, but they're gonna have to get back quick, smart, especially Glory. He's a lot of the wave clear. Big Kara has a little bit on the Xayah, but it's not going to be enough as the rest of the outer turrets fall down. But we're going to have to see this siege on the mid lane tower. Drakthar, very well sworded out, so there's no opportunity for a flank from him. The Realm Warp, of course, already used, so they can't use that to bypass vision.
Yeah,
very safe setup.
I do like that top lane play from Glory and TH, though. It took the teeth out of the engage by forcing Galio to go back. I think it was the right decision. You were never defending those out-of-base towers regardless.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be the VCS without a little bit of sap. So
yeah, it was 100% the right play. It got them a nice about 2,000 gold injection, which they were really hurting for. Gets a bit more gold as well onto your big assassination threat in TH and your DPS threat that is Glory. So it was absolutely the correct play. And on the return, it just meant they can't capitalize on an overpush or the Galio being on the other side of the map and going for a 4v4. Not that what you'd really want to without TH's ability to dive onto the Camille, the Kai'Sa rather, and isolate her for picking. But at this point, it's just really hard to pick her off. There's so much shielding from the Killer Instinct and Froggy in general. There's so much disruption coming through from the Olaf and the Rel. It's just too hard for them to deal with Variety right now.
Yeah, it really, really is. I think this Kai'Sa is in pretty much an unstoppable carrying position. I'm not 100% sure what they do about it. It has to be a mistake from Variety, I think. I really want this ports to resolve quickly. I want to get back into this game because it's been a good one so far. And there we go. Well, it turns out all you have to do is ask.
Yeah, this has been one of our better 2-0s. BTS still looking like a solid team, even though they are just kind of getting outclassed in macro rotation, in the macro, and even like team fighting. Just as we all know, better AD carry gets more crits. So, sorry, Big Kara, you're just being outdone. We need to see how BTS wants to approach this final dragon. It's the sole point. They're not going to go for it at all.
Yeah, they don't think it's necessary. It's a hard call to make, and all you're getting out of it is a mid lane outer. But here comes the engage. They're just going to immediately turn it around. But look at this. Ariety completely unmolested by the initial engage. I'm watching Ariety going in. Husmed goes low, but look at the Kaiser carving on through. The executes will start coming in. Man, I hyped up the Kaiser. It turns out she didn't really get any of the kills. But she did deal a lot of damage, and that's going to be the clean ace. And they're going to walk down mid.
Yeah, and with those death timers, it should be just about the end of the game. Provided they have the wave, BJ should be able to tank it up. He's going to be fine. They have the teleport as well from Froggy. It's just going to be another win from SGB and BTS. They are just getting, despite, and really they just got bot diffed. We've said that was their way into it, and that ended up being their weakness. They fell down in the end. SGB just coming in hot and demanding playoffs.
Yeah, SGB wants to make up for their stumbles last week, not being able to upset Gum, to put a damper on their run to playoffs, but they are lighting that fire once again. Very, very good stuff out of them as they take a win that they absolutely should have gotten, but still, they convert.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very good conversion from them. They basically outmatch BTS in most of the map. Husmed had a bit of a letdown that game, kind of got put into a hole, but that's sort of what we expected from how BTS should have played. Glory showed up really well, but I think we need to hear from the man himself, Rebel Fox, about the boy in the jungle and how he didn't do anything.
Yep, I mean, Rebel, if you're there, we can bring you in. Just briefly, before we go to a break, Drakthar didn't live up to the fan club's expectations.
I told you before we started the series, man. This is the redemption arc for the side of BTS and for Drakthar. They're not playing for MSI. They're playing for the World Finals. They're just preparing for the training arc. That's
sandbagging for Worlds.
They are sandbagging for Worlds, exactly. No, it was strange. I feel like they had TH at the top lane doing fine things on Camille, and they had this lead going topside, but they just it's like they could have played through topside and tried to win with that condition, but they were losing the rest of the map, and they felt the need to just start spreading everywhere else, and eventually they just kind of got overrun by all the things that happened in bot lane, where Saigon was up, what was it, 4 kills or something at 5 or 10 minutes into the game with Ariety. There's very little that you can do into a Kaiser that's strong at that point in the game. And I think once that happened, once the entire topside, if I recall, there was a dive on topside where Drakthar died, TH died, and they had Rift Herald dropped. Once that came through, the game was pretty much over.
Yeah, I have to say I agree. And if production is ready, we will go to a little bit of a break as we catch our breath and get ready for GLX taking on Team Secret. Hopefully another competitive series, but we'll have to see, as it is GLX taking on a pretty resurgent Team Secret. But we'll be back in about half an hour. Go get something to drink, go get something to eat, and be back here for more VCS action here on VCS English.
Play guess the lineup.